Chaitanya, just a minute. Ipur, Mr. Shri, to take up the concluding remarks also. Chaitanya, could you please give option of mute and unmute to Mr. Ipur? Chaitanya.
Sorry, they'll have that option, ma'am. I think there are two different devices that are showing that Ipur sir has joined.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, please, you can start off, ma'am.
Yes, sure.
We are already live now.
Good evening to one and all. Our warm welcome to this session on IGBC's Flora lecture series organized in association with Agri Horticultural Society, Hyderabad. Today we are going to inaugurate this session, and the first session which we are going to have today is on hydroponics. The session moderators we have today are Mr. Anil Kumar Ipur and Shri L. Venkatram Reddy, Commissioner of Horticulture, Government of Telangana. And the speaker for the day is Mr. Pradeep Thakur, Managing Director of Thakur Agrotech. Now, may I request Mr. Anil Kumar Ipur to kindly address the welcome remarks, please.
Not able to get a video on. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shri L. Venkatram Reddy Garu, Commissioner for Horticulture, Government of Telangana, Shri Pradeep Thakur Garu, MD of Thakur Agrotech, Shri Architect Srinivasa Murthy, CEO and Architect, SMG Design Incorporated. I don't know. There's a lot of echoing, I think.
You'll have to reduce the volume. Volume reduce, change the sarga point.
Is it better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, colleagues, friends, lovers of nature, a very good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you to this webinar of national importance. Today, urban green spaces are increasingly becoming an integral part of the ecosystem and are playing a pivotal role in addressing air pollution, carbon emissions, heat island cooling, stormwater runoff reduction, etc. Urban green spaces also provide psychological and social benefits. Underlining the importance of flora and to appreciate the role in the environment, CIA, Indian Green Building Council, in association with the Agri Horticultural Society of Hyderabad, have initiated this Flora lecture series. The objective of this series is to create awareness on the need and importance of landscapes in the green built environment and various means of integrating and sustaining landscapes into the built environment. Another main objective is to impart knowledge to the delegates from experts in the various fields. The lecture series would include topics on green roofs, roof gardens, vertical gardens, ikebana, bonsai arrangements, organic farming, plantation techniques, etc., and would be organized on the third Friday of almost every month. It is my privilege and pleasure to welcome Shri L. Venkatram Reddy Garu, the Commissioner of Horticulture, Government of Telangana. He is very actively involved in taking up many new initiatives and in implementing various horticulture projects in the state. So we are glad to know that under your leadership, the Horticulture Department has been receiving excellent support from the Government of Telangana and also getting excellent responses from the farmers. I would like to mention that this Flora lecture series is an idea of Sri Venkatramreddy Garu with an objective to create awareness on landscape techniques and technologies. He has suggested this to the Agri Horticultural Society at its AGM and was immediately accepted and is being implemented. Sir, thank you for guiding us and accepting our invitation to inaugurate this lecture series. We look forward to your continuous valuable support. My special word of welcome and thanks to the very distinguished speaker of the day, Mr. Pradeep Thakur, the Managing Director of Thakur Agrotech, who is an acknowledged specialist and evangelist of hydroponics. My warm welcome and thanks to Mr. Srinivasa Murthy, Chief Executive and Architect of SMG Design Incorporated, for joining this panel today. Before I conclude, I would like to reiterate that CIA, IGBC, and Agri Horticultural Society Hyderabad will always strive to offer the best to nature lovers and to the Indian industry, and will work closely with all the stakeholders in facilitating a green India. I'm sure that this series will definitely go a long way in preserving greenery for our future generations. Thank you very much. May I now request our chief guest, Sri L. Venkatramreddy Garu, Commissioner of Horticulture, Government of Telangana, to give us a special address. By the way, Sri Venkatramreddy Garu is also a very progressive and successful horticultural farmer. Sri Venkatramreddy Garu.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, we're able to hear you.
Yes, sir, we are able to hear you.
Sorry, joining sir, within 2 minutes, madam.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Hello.
Yes, sir.
So
Welcome to the session.
good evening to everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, Anil ji, good evening, and all the participants. Very much thankful to all of hydroponic fans of India. This lecture, Flora lecture series, lecture session, and this is the first because the need of the hour, though the country is not in leafy vegetables, particularly Telangana, we need leafy vegetables at the rate of 50 grams as per the recommendations of the ICMR, but we are consuming only 23 grams of leafy vegetables. 27 grams of leafy vegetables is a shortage. For that, we have to we are the shortage of 4 to 4.5 lakh metric tons per annum. So most of the people are not using the leafy vegetables because non-availability. If availability is there, there is a highly toxic and city surrounding grown leafy vegetables. With this introduction, I request the concerned these experts we have to encourage the this farming of hydroponic farming is the most essential nowadays for urban farming and town planning in the villages also. Similarly, the cost effectiveness should be there and easy cultivation methods to be introduced. Then only it can picks up, and the cost benefit ratio to be less than the soil cultivation. Then only the people will opt it. And I request the concerned persons who are experts. We want to listen their Pradeep Thakur. Just I spoken 2 days ago with him. He was given very good information about the hydroponic cultivation. So I request the Pradeep Thakur for giving his valuable and very informative and very adaptable technologies to the people of the India. So the intervention, which was taken, the initiation which was taken by the Anilji, we are very much thankful to the Anilji and the Confederation of Indian Industry team. Thank you, one and all.
Request to Satya, madam, please, can you allow me to share my
Yes,
slides,
sir.
please?
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Venkataraman Reddy garu. I was honored 2 days back when you personally called up and wanted to know more about hydroponics. That shows how interested you are in doing your job more than it requires. I'm honored, sir. And yes, it's my promise that simplest of hydroponics, which is not costly, can be done at home with any container. I'm not worried about this container or plastic container or metal container or anything. Hydroponics can be practiced in any area, anywhere, wherever you, some sunlight and things which you have right at your place. So with thanking all, I start my own series of sharing my slides. If anybody is not able to listen to my voice, please inform me on the chat. And I would love to make it this session as an interactive session. So if anybody has some doubt, can either put their questions in the chat box or they can put me a question. I won't get interrupted. I'll definitely remove your answer your questions. With this, I'll first stop my video and share my I need to guidance for sharing my screen on. I'm sorry, there's some problem over here, I think, madam. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sharing of my screen is not there. It says sharing of Chrome and sharing of everything, but not my screen.
Okay. Could you please send us the presentation?
It will take some time for you. Definitely, I can start it over.
You can start it, sir.
Sir, I think that would be the first option that you'll have to use, sir.
Yeah, I heard that. I think now it's visible to you, please. Can you see that, sir?
Not yet. Not yet. Yes, it is now visible,
Yes,
sir.
it's visible, sir.
Okay.
You can go into full screen. Yes, perfect, sir.
A very good warm evening to all the participants. Special thanks to Mr. Anil Garu and Venkatram Garu, who took real interest, and Satya Madam also followed very thoroughly. In fact, even now, 10 minutes before, she called up and said, "Sir, it's ready." I said, "Yes." Now, let's start with warming up this hydroponics. Hydroponics is nothing but simple feeding the plants with water. Though it might sound a pedantic word, hydroponic, it's a word and it's a scene which you would have seen every time in your old walls and other things. If you can see some trees growing without anything on your old walls, you must have definitely seen it in old buildings. I've shared some screen. You can see here the roots are visible and the tree is mighty grown. Now, we have lost our stand and stare system. This is nothing but hydroponics. Who is feeding the plant? Where is the soil? But it's perfectly green, lush green tree on an old wall with lots of roots seen on the wall itself. This is simple hydroponics. I'll share another screen where the whole tree is 45 degrees slanted. And you can see again the roots over here with a slanting stem. Again, where do they get the soil and nutrients from or water from? But they are perfectly holding on to the wall. This is hydroponics. You might say, how exactly? I said there is no soil and you don't know how do they get their portion or nutrient. And how do they get their water? But they are thriving for years together. I know lot many people complaining, "Sir, I was able to cut the roots and I was able to cut the shoot and still it's thriving, sir." And this is what I call, this is nature. Simple, nature has its own way, and when we decipher the nature, then we call that nature as science. So there is no much of a difference between nature and science. Once you know what exactly nature is doing it, nature wants you to learn. But we have to keep our eyes open, keep being an observer. We'll have to interfere something, think on terms, how exactly it can happen, and you learn new things very regularly. Well, now, you must have also heard about the Hanging Garden of Babylonia. How many years back you got to find it out? Or you must have heard about the floating gardens of Aztec of Mexico. Here is the same. They are nothing but hydroponic techniques being used. Of course, they won't have named it hydroponic, but they were able to grow whatever they wanted. So you can say it's several hundred years before Christ, this hydroponic was in existence. Now, this is our Indian scientist, though he was in English, he had experimented in hydroponics in 1946 itself. The English scientist was W.J. Shalto-Douglas, and we should be proud that he called it as the Bengal system. But that was existent till the lab only. It never came out of the lab. Now, to know what exactly hydroponic is, you have to go for the simple, your 8th standard, 9th standard, 10th standard biology classes, botany classes. And first, I give you the meaning of hydro means water, chronos means labor. Whatever you do with water, feed the plant only with water, in whatever fashion you give it. This new names of hydroponic in different aeroponics and NFTs and all, it's all mechanism by which you add on to the plant roots the necessary nutrient, nothing else. If tomorrow you find some new way of supplying nutrient to the roots of a plant, you will be naming it in your own name. So Hydroponic means growing everything in water. Those of you are growing money plant just in water bottle, it's hydroponic. Okay, now let's know what exactly plant. This plant, if I say you separately without talking about the growing things or the manufacturing things, it means a factory. On your right hand side, you have a car manufacturing factory, which you can call it as a plant. On your left, you have God's almighty smallest factory, the leaf, which can manufacture glucose with only carbon dioxide from air, water from the root, chlorophyll it has it, oxygen also it gets it from the water, and manufactures glucose. It's the simple thing which you have to remember when you want to practice hydroponics. Water is essential, which comes from the root. Carbon dioxide is there in air. We take carbon dioxide and they have something called chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll takes in carbon dioxide, water from the root, and does some magic and produces a simplest glucose. Scientists can call it as Kelvin cycle or dark cycle. All those things are not necessary for hydroponic. It's enough. Remember, hydroponic is supplying thing with water, nothing else. So now let's talk about smallest, tiniest, which you can't even see the factory, how exactly it manufactures glucose for you. If I can represent the photosynthesis in chemical formulation, in it, I can say carbon dioxide plus water gives glucose and oxygen. In chemical formulation, this 6CO2 plus 6H2O gives 6C6H12O6, which is simplest glucose and air. In the formulation itself, there is no mention of soil, that you need a soil to grow some plant. This itself is enough for you to think that you can grow without soil. I'll further take this equation in special manner, in a representative way. 6 carbon dioxide, 12 H2O. The earlier side, I told you 6 H2O, but in fact it is 12 molecular water with some plant enzyme, call it chlorophyll or whatever. There are lots of enzymes, but I'm just making it simple, which produces in presence of light, chlorophyll. By combining these two elements, they produce one molecule of glucose, which is a plant biomass. And the same plant biomass is either used to develop more leaves, develop the root, develop the tip of the plant, or create a flower, or create a fruit for you. And you get oxygen also. So if I can tell you what exactly plants is giving you, it's giving you your food, it is giving you oxygen, and it is cooling the atmosphere also by the 6th molecule of water which comes out of the stomata while photosynthesis is taking place. If this temperature is not reduced, then your lab, that is your plant, the manufacturing plant, will get heated up. They have their own mechanism to cool the plant. If you can remember the simplest thing, that you need water, carbon dioxide enough we are generating either by breathing out or by our cars and motors and all fossil fuel burning. It's nothing but carbon dioxide. I'll still say in a different way, photosynthesis equation. This again, I have simplified it for the case of simplification. There is lot many reaction going on, and ultimate reaction is this. And you might say, so you are just telling me that glucose is produced, but along with this glucose, the plant also manufactures with the glucose model organic compounds such as protein, fats, lipids, carbohydrates like starch and cellulose. So plant is able to generate everything out of only carbon dioxide. Of course, they need certain 17 different elements, which I'll be talking in my further slides. But enough for you to understand that carbon dioxide and water is most essential thing, and they are feeding us with food. They are giving us oxygen, without which we will not be able to live for even 10 seconds or 20 seconds. And third thing is temperature control. They do temperature control. Plants are doing exactly opposite of what we are doing. We, in our mitochondria, we are generating out of the glucose what we take and oxygen what we take. In our mitochondria, we produce carbon dioxide, water, which is called as aerobic respiration. And we again give back the carbon dioxide to the plants. We give our waste product like urine and motion and all those things. They pretty well know how to convert back that to glucose and give it to us as a fruit. My next slide will tell you that. So photosynthesis, you have light energy plus water for carbon dioxide, which gives you sugar and oxygen. And the same oxygen and fruit or food we eat and back to the soil. So God knows how to recycle everything properly without wasting anything. It is we human beings are wasting many things. Okay, now let's talk more on hydroponics. Here, I told you in my last slides that water goes up through the roots along with many minerals, which I'll be telling you all those things soon. And it goes up the plant via a vessel like our arteries. We have a pipeline. They call it as a xylem in botany. And so the water goes through the xylem along with the minerals to the leaf. Here, the water evaporates from the leaves and cools the plants, as well as starts manufacturing glucose in presence of sunlight. And that glucose is again sent to the the shoot tip, the roots, and the leaves to further develop the mass, green mass, flowers, and fruits. So we have now come to conclusion that the plant need certain things for it to survive, and that is nothing but water, sunlight, air, nutrient, which normally it's in soil itself. But in hydroponic, we give them whatever they want, whenever they want, and whatever amount they want, we give them in right fashion. And the anchorage to hold their plants, you need an anchorage roots, of course, space for the plants. Okay. So how is going to be soilless growing? On my first slide itself, I showed you that a pretty big tree can grow without the soil. In this, since we are going to control everything for the plant, we can grow it without, or in gravel, or in sand, or in something called vermiculite, perlite, which I have not mentioned in my slide, rock wool, styrofoam, which you normally call as new foam and all those things, or anything inert. Here you can add even the rice husk. When you go to any rice mill, they remove the rice husk from the top. And those things are very much inert and can be used as a hydroponic growing medium. Now, question is, sir, we have lots of land. Why should I grow in hydroponic without soil? Well, you have lots of soil. Yes, I understand. But the soil has been made so bad, or it has been made useless by adding ureas and all other things, toxic material. And ultimately, if you grow everything on the soil, you are getting back those toxic materials, the soil, to the plant, and from the plant back to you. Or rather, some elements has been so depleted, like vanadium and other material. You don't get the proper nutrition to the plants. It's something like, if I don't supply tire or a battery to a car plant, how many cars can they manufacture? They won't be able to. And so is the case with plants in the soil. They need at least I said 17 minimum elements and water to manufacture. We are still trying to understand more materials are being added, but 17 of today it is known, 17 elements are needed. Now let's talk about the advantages of it. Since here the factory manager doesn't have to scout, I mean the root doesn't have to search for the elements from the soil. Poor roots, they go down very deep and search that calcium, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, boron, magnesium, copper. They know the elements without eyes, and that they have to search in the soil. But if you give it to them right roots, then they say, well, I don't have to now search anything. I have everything at my doorstep. And so I use my energy to develop more and more plants because I don't have to worry about the inventory now. So hydroponic works automatically, getting the complete nutrient mixture and water to the roots without drowning the plant. This is very important. You are not supposed to drown the plant because the roots are also taking oxygen and they need to breathe. Plants get everything they need all the time. And so they do not waste growing a lot of roots searching for the nutrient. So you know now what's the advantage of hydroponic. Now, more advantage, here you are growing everything in a controlled way. So no weeds, that is the plants which you don't need. When you grow it in soil, lots of weeds and pests also grows along with your plants. Since you're growing everything without soil, it eliminates the weeds. So if you have a rice farm, you don't have to kneel down or you'll have to bend your back to weed out every now and then, or you need a weeding machine, automatic weeding machine. So, and the best thing is when there are no weeds, you don't have to have a weed spray. So one problem is you don't have to weed out nor you have pests. And worst part of it is 70% of your pests live in the soil or breed in the soil. So not using the soil, you are eliminating the plant with 70%, minus 70% of the diseases they would get. That doesn't exclude the 30% which they get it through water or air. So here, less pesticides and less toxic chemicals are used, which is very good for us. Now, when you get everything you need right at your doorstep for roots, the plant quality is superior. They produce something robust and taste. They are all uniform also. I would rather say they are getting everything, and so they are rewarding you with a great taste, strong and fast growth, and overall plant quality. How would you infer if I tell you that you are getting at least 2 to 5 times the quality you get it in soil? So plants are much healthier, faster. Now, automation is very possible. That is, if you have a rooftop garden and you want to live for 15 days on a vacation, you can automate it, watering it, giving nutrients. And if you still doubt it, you just switch on your smart mobile, get it connected through Wi-Fi along with your Internet of IoT, Internet of Things, and you watch your plants right on your mobile itself. And if in case those motors are not working, you will get an alarm on your mobile. And you can switch on the motors and turn on the nutrient and everything. And the best part of it, now, you can grow it in dark room also, because now you are supplying the plants with artificial lights. No more sunlight is needed. You can grow it in your dark cellar or rooms, even your godown. Even a 40 feet or 20 feet container can act as plant growing or garden. Well, advantage. Then you'll ask me, sir, what are the disadvantages? Yes, we have both sides of the coins. That also I'll explain. Now the plants here, since you are giving them everything, you are providing the best of the conditions, the best of the humidity, the best of the temperature, and best of the nutrients. So you can imagine if you want to grow saffron in Andhra Pradesh or Tamil Nadu or even in desert, you can grow saffron. Why I mention saffron over here is that the costliest spice available per kg, nothing less than 2.5 lakh. We can grow blueberries, avocados, which you can't even imagine in Hyderabad or Chennai. And again, it grows in a smaller area. Here, the footprint is so small that you can increase in the third dimension on the top area. I'll show you a picture which will tell you how exactly the same footprint area is being used to grow 5 times the produce. Here, I'll show you something called NFT of, I'll explain those NFTs in terms later when I grow with them. Here, the footprint of this is small, but here you have how many layers? 6 layers. And so you're multiplying the land 6 times on one side and 6 times. So 12 times the land you get the produce. As such, hydroponic is producing 2 to 5 times than soil. And even then, when you can go vertically up, you are almost producing 10 to 20 times more than the soil. Okay, now that is disadvantages. All along, you must have heard, some of you must have heard about the hydroponic. So all along, you must have heard that hydroponic is cost. Investment, initial cost is too high. Believe me, it's only a commercial and not in hobby. You can use a broken bucket, plastic bucket you have, or the broken vase, or whatever vessel you have, or the pot, which you get it in potter's place, pots and all those. So those costly thing is only for the commercial because they have to control everything because they want the maximum produce with the minimum input. They want to get the maximum profit. So they got to arrange all the investment like controlling the humidity, controlling the temperature, controlling the light, all those things. Yes, it's cost investment. Now, hydroponic production is little technical. It needs a high level of expertise. Like when I say you need to check your pH, and you say, what is this pH? And then I say, no, you'll have to check your EC also. I am trying to scare you with a high pedantic words. pH is nothing but power of hydrogen or potential of hydrogen, which in simple language is either it is acidic or alkaline. Anything above 7, that is 1 to 7, is acidic, and 7 to 14 is alkaline. 7 is supposed to be neutral. So pH is nothing but to know whether it is acidic or alkaline. Yes, here I have said daily attention is required. Only for the small babies, definitely you provide every attention. You see to it that the child is not eating anything apart from whatever you give them or gulping anything. And this is what is hydroponic. Only initial stages, because you got to learn how exactly the child is behaving. You got to learn how exactly the hydroponic plants are behaving. So you'll have to be with them for some times. Yes, this specially formulated nutrient, this is something very technical because as a scientist, we analyze the leaf and the petiole the plant we are growing called lettuce or spinach or broccoli or anything you name it, we analyze the leaf or the petiole for the elements they have. From the healthy plants, we come to conclusion that yeah, they need this much of calcium and they need this much of, and we arrive at the formulas. And for a tomato plant, you have 5 different formulation for growing tomatoes in commercial, but not in your hobby section. In your hobby, you can start with even a single formulation of fruiting that big. Here, one caution I would like to tell you is you can't use those NPKs or ureas and all over here in this hydroponics. You will have to have nutrient solution which are 100% water soluble, and they form ions of the material they need. Ions meaning, those chemistry students might know that cations and anions, positively charged and negatively charged ions, they take only food in that. So here, some of my friends who are in organic cultivation, they might say, no, I'm growing organic, and how can you feed? You can't grow any plant in organic nutrient. The nutrient you feed the plants organically are being changed by the soil bacteria and soil insects and all earthworms into ions, into a simplest form which the plants absorb. So if you hear the word that organic food and we eat only organic food, then again you are eating only the food which has been provided by the earthworms and bacteria and other things which break the organic fertilizers into simple constituents like calcium, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, boron, all of the things in ionic form. So don't go by the word that organic is totally eating only organic fertilizer and producing it. Yes, the pests and the diseases are again, but only now 30%. 70% has been eliminated. And the biggest thing is, like our COVID-19, if one plant gets waterborne disease, believe me, all the plants which are connected in that particular system will get that disease in no time. Now let's talk what exactly is hydroponics now. Simple. You have either passive system or active system. Just to recheck, am I audible and am I clear in all my sound? And
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. So you have 2 systems called passive systems and you have active systems. Simple. In passive systems, you don't have any moving parts. No electricity needed. Nothing is needed. I'll show you all those things with diagrams. So you don't have to worry about this English way of talking passive and active. It's not an English grammar section. And active section, you provide everything through pumps and other means, which the plant gets it through its roots. Now the whole hydroponics starts. The very first is passive system. I call it as capillary system, or even to those who have some problem in understanding the capillary system, you can imagine the lamp. You light a lamp by putting some cotton wick in an oil at one end, another end you burn it. And so the oil is being drawn from the later end to the fire end, and the fire goes on continuously. The same principle works over here. You put material which absorbs water, call it threads or cotton wicks or anything, into a tub, and that another end goes into a plant medium. It can be any medium. I'll talk about the medium also, so don't get confused. I'll explain each and everything and where the plants are, the roots are. So ultimately the plants are getting wet, only wet. They are not getting drowned. They are getting the exact amount of water they need through capillary system. by suction. And again, the best part is even the plants absorb the water by osmosis, which is again, it's a way of absorbing lighter solution into a heavier concentrated solution. Here, airstone and all those you can forget later. Here, simply you remember water, nutrient, something by which the water is being sucked and put into the media and the plants get it. Simple hydroponics. And I have given you a vague figure. You can use your plastic buckets and containers or whatever shape you have, including the 1 liter, 2 liter water bottle, PET bottle, you get it on the road free of charge. You can use them for hydroponics. Only question is, you see to it that those bottles are not transparent. You got to make them as or opaque, not translucent, opaque. No light should pass through the container. If light passes, then lots of algae will be generated and the plants will not get the nutrient as much as it needs. And this is the same mistake. Not many people who learn everything from the Google guru. I have a better guru we call Google guru, who teaches good as well as bad to the people who are in search of something. Okay, now next system. Any question till now also please can write down, or you can put me questions as and when you get some questions. The next system is simplest of the simplest. It's called Karateki System, developed by Professor Karateki of Africa, where you put it in a container of 1 bottle, 1 liter bottle, some plant with the roots dangling, and roots start getting the water every day, and the water level goes down, and so the oxygen level goes up, and air above the water is moist enough to keep the plant alive. Here you will have to have a tank cover. Yes, mosquitoes also will be bred, but even there is a solution. I know there is a problem. There is a solution, and if you come across the best part of the solution, you are a genius person. You are a scientist. Okay, so this is a system, simple plant put into a bottle which doesn't allow light to go inside the nutrient, and slowly water is being drawn by the plant, and the gap between the cover and the water increases, and the oxygen also increases, and so plants keeps growing. This shows that plants can healthily grow without soil. I'll give you another example of it. Karateki method. In a simple way, you need a reservoir, a net pot. This is called net pot with lots of holes in the pot. Hydroponic nutrient. This is the one. Water and seedling. You put it onto the net cup. So that it stands erect. You need some mechanism to make it stand erect. Those things I'll explain later. And the set plants can grow beautifully after, let's say, 20 to 25 days. I have shown lettuce over here by taking the water, and the air inside is drawn, and that is good enough for the roots to absorb oxygen from there. No pumps, no wicks, no electricity, simply hands-free. Right? Now you have a different way of flood and drain system. Those of you who are following terrace garden or even your lawn garden, we know that we ask our gardeners, or we ourselves do it. We dump a mug full of water onto the plant and then say, oh, I have finished watering. Poor plants. At least the soil leaks or takes lots of water from the plant and allows the water to the roots to breathe. Here, the water from the container is being pumped to the media or without media, and the plants are grown into the pot. And after some time, when the level reaches up to this level, this is overflow. Once it reaches this level, the water automatically comes down. We call it as a bell siphon method, and which we use in our cistern or flush tanks. The same method can be used here, and again, container size, shape, color doesn't matter much. You use any container. This design will be able to show how exactly it is flooding it, and then it's draining it, and then again flooding. It's something like your flow and ebb or seashore, where you keep splashing the shore and going back. The same thing is here. Now this simplest again. Here you have some plant with some media, and you put in water. Everything by any means, need not be by pump. You can even put it by your hands. Only thing is you've got to have a media which can hold water for sometimes at least let's say an hour or two. I can give you a recipe for it also. But if you can do it, you can do it at your home also. And so after flooding, the water is drained back, which you can again use it back to this pump, back to this. You can recycle it. So here in hydroponic, we use only 10% of water, we use it in soil. So you can understand, we are saving 90% of the water. Okay, now this is called hydroponic to waste. There are names only according to the system by which you supply the nutrient to the plants. Nothing different. All systems are by the names. Here you have something called NFT or nutrient film technology or technique. In NFT, you have a pipe, you have a reservoir of, let's say, tank 200, 300 liters with a pump, submersible pump, which runs on a 250 volt or 12 volt, makes no difference to me. And the nutrient is pumped into this pipe with your plants standing onto the at a distance so that they can grow nicely. It can be 6 inches to 8 inches or 10 inches, depending on what you want to grow. So water is recycled back from the thing. Here, water is running in a small thin film, very thin film, and that's why we call it as film technique. You are not pouring it to the half side, but few ingenious people use round pipes, and the round pipes use curvature, water curvature, and so half the pipe is full. And so I won't call that as NFT, I would call it as a deep water culture. Those things I'm explaining in my next slides. This is only to make you understand what exactly hydroponic systems are and how exactly they are different only by supplying the nutrient, nothing else. Next, we have something for larger plants. It's larger for 3 feet, 5 feet plants, tomatoes and chilies and cucumber, watermelon. All those things can be grown in Dutch bucket, where you have 8 to 10 inch buckets, which you feed them through the reservoir from the pipes. We call it as drip emitters pipes or 12 mm or 6 mm black color pipe. It feeds all the, need not be 4, it can be any number, it can be 20, 25. And the water collected back by this gray pipe is once again siphoned back to the water. So the same water is being recycled. So no wastage of water and nutrient or fertilizer. This is Dutch or batter bucket. Names differ according to different nations. Of late, lot many intelligent people have come up with bubble. They create bubble from the nutrient and feed the roots, and they say now it's Bubbleponics. But again, you are supplying the nutrients to the root so that they get water as well as nutrient inside net cups and they thrive. Again, different name. This can be without the bubbles. This can be even called deep water culture, which I'll show you. This top fed. So we call it as deep water culture, feeding from the top. Now, some more foggers they have used. They put down a small fogging machine inside the nutrient solution and they make fog. Those of you who have been to Delhi or cold places, you know what fogs are. You can't see the next guy's hand into such climates. Such fogs are generated with the nutrient solution, and those fogs supply everything necessary, and they call it as a phogoponics. Once again, it's hydroponics. Of the latest interest is vertical system. You can grow everything you want onto the walls, and of late in many countries, they have this succulent plants on the walls itself. So anybody walking on the thing, they plug the plants, eat it up. Nothing else. They don't have to worry, ask permission or. So everybody will be happy eating green foliages or greenery. And the best part of hydroponic is aeroponic, where it is really working much better than all other system, but not for all the system. It's called aeroponics, where the nutrient pump has nozzles which gives a mist of the smallest possible particle of water to the roots, and those roots get much air along with the nutrient, and so they don't get drowned also. This has to be developed for all root plants like potatoes and sweet potatoes and turmeric and all those this work. And how would you wonder if there is a very big farm of 157 acres right next to your Hyderabad? Just call it Simply Fresh or Google for it, and you'll know they are using some such system to grow many medicinal plants inside the thing, and they have invested in crores in this system. Those who want to start immediately, even if you have a grow bag of this type with holes in it, you can start hydroponic today itself. Some coconut coir. Those who don't understand about the coconut coir, simply whenever you bite some coconut, remove the coir from the top, put it in your mixie grinding, make it into small powder-like thing, and feed it into this, and you get coconut coir, which is enough for your growing media. Now, I was talking about the growing media. I'm supposed to be a little faster. I think I should be knowing what time exactly so that I don't overshoot my time. Oh, it's 5 o'clock, 1 hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Sir,
these are the media.
The next few minutes.
These are the medias: cocoa coir, rock wool, leca, which is light expanded clay aggregate, perlite, vermiculite, or rice husk, as I told you earlier. Now, nutrient solutions are made out of 17 essential elements, which we divide into macro and micro elements. This macro means they need more. Micro means they need very small quantity. That's only the difference. And the macro elements are, you can read it or you can share the slides, madam, if anybody wants it. Carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur. These are the macro elements. And the micro elements are iron, manganese, copper, zinc, boron, molybdenum, chlorine, and nickel. The first part of the thing is right now you'll have to control the pH. I'll show a picture of the pH checking machine and EC checking machine later. You'll have to know the electrical conductivity also, as well as you'll have to control your temperature and humidity by providing some shade to the plants. The best temperature for the plants, most of the plants, is 20 to 30, and the relative humidity is around 60%. Of late, as I told you, you can grow everything in land, dark land, or you go down or 40 feet or 20 feet container. You can grow with high density light, which is costly. You can grow with fluorescent light, but which are inefficient. And of late, you have LEDs, which can be got from 400 nanometers, that's again a technical term, to 680 nanometers, along with UV and IR thing. Now the question is, what can we grow? Simple. You can grow lettuce, your bell peppers of any color, tomatoes, your beetroots and all root. You can grow even coconut tree, palm tree also, but how will you catch them or how will you have a mechanism to hold them? So it is in your ingenuity. How are you going to control all the variables that a plants need? I was talking about the pH meter. This is how the pH meter is. If you dip it inside the solution, it will tell you what exactly the pH of the solution is. And 6.8 is little acidic, 7 is neutral. All the plants need around 5.8 to 6.4. And the EC or TDS, which is the same but different, like kilometers and miles. This EC machine can be either TDS or total dissolved salt, can be got from the market, or those who are not able to, I can guide them in local market how to get it. Now, some of the examples, how exactly you're growing it till 8 to 10 feet through something called vertical gardening. A bio, which you can grow anything succulent or eatable. You can increase the aesthetic of your exterior walls. This thing is possible only due to hydroponics. You can have garden inside your dining hall. And this is the best example. The whole floors, balcony are with greens. This is in Taiwan. I can show pictures on it. And this is the latest of hydroponics. We call it as Rotary Hydroponic. This is going to be very versatile. This is going to bring all your garden inside your kitchen like a small fan. This is a rotating disc, and all your greens are growing in rotating fashion. The whole rotation takes 1 hour, and here you have some liquid in which the roots are dangling for only few minutes, and again they go. Since there is no gravity, these plants grow faster. So the xylem and flora are working much better. There is a single light at the center. I'll show you this in a 3D form. So you'll have much better capture. I mean, you will be able to see that picture much better. But this is the latest, and NASA has found this for the aeronaut people flying to the space, and they get the greens produced right inside the spacecraft, and they can eat it everyday greens. Thank you. This is what I can say within this 1 hour. But those of you who would like to be in touch to know everything, I can guide them anytime. Any rapid fire questions also can be asked right now. Those of you who are still interested in seeing this roto, how exactly it's working, I can show a 3D model, how exactly going. It only take around 2 minutes time. I seek permission of moderator, please.
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, then I'll stop sharing and I'll start the thing and come back.
So meanwhile, we would request audience to kindly post their questions, please.
Just a minute, nothing more than that.
Mr. Pradeep, would you like to answer the questions now or after the presentation?
I can do that. Simple, and even I'm ready with that thing also. But anyway, those questions can be.
So the one question which the audience are posing is, where can we get these nutrients, whatever you're talking about, the nutrients which are to be added into the solution? So where are they available and what are those nutrients?
Yeah. In days of this Google, Amazon is always there, but they are little costly. I wouldn't rather suggest, though with a heavy heart, I'm saying it's available online with A and B, but the rate at which it's being sold, I'm not very happy. I can definitely share the formulas for those who are interested, but little difficulty with this chemicals is certain chemicals you will not be able to get it in the market. Like, let's say, ammonium nitrate. The moment it's available freely, some nefarious people make bombs out of it. And so even if you go and search of it, you will not be able to get it. And this pH up and pH down solution are needed by you. You need some acid or alkali to do that. And those things are not readily available to everybody. If you go for it, you will be asked for your Aadhaar card and all other possible system by which you will not throw it on somebody. So initially, please, I say just initially, don't waste your time in making nutrient. I can supply bulkily to somebody at a very good cheap rate, and that you can distribute among your people so that you don't be priced for those things. Certain chemicals like sodium molybdate are very costly. Let's say 1,500 to 2,000. That's I'm getting it. For you, they might charge you around 4,000 to 5,000 rupees per kg, and the amount which is required is very, very, very small. Point not 1 mg in 1,000 liters. So with that 1 kg, generation of yours will be using it in hydroponics. So I want you to take care of their growing habits, their details, like the media, nutrients. I can guide up. We can arrive at some wage. I can pass on the bulk to somebody, and that can be distributed among you in small. Because even if in Amazon you get it in liquid form, so in liquid form, even the courier charges are scary to carry them. You're getting only transport. I supply them in a solid form if needed, and that you got to mix it according to the mixed instruction given to you. And so you do it yourself, and so you learn the nitty-gritty of it. So next, when you do it by yourself, you will be able to do it very perfectly. So initially, please
Sir,
don't.
most of the audience are asking for your contact number and email.
Yeah, I'll give you all those things. Let me
post on
finish.
the screen. Maybe people.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'm just showing how exactly this horizontal rotary hydroponics working. I'll just start with it.
Please.
Just to give you more idea how exactly rotary hydroponic used by NASA for the astronaut. A water trough, you have cylinder. This three picture is self-explanatory. I don't have to explain anything. Going to be in your kitchen now. Very small, like a fan. LED light. No, don't use cold tube and all those things. Now you have LEDs over here. So in small area, let's say 1 feet by 1 feet, you are able to grow lot many greens right inside your kitchen. No light, nothing, not even taking care of it. Everything is taken care automatically. Rotation is in the now I'm sharing my slide again for the addresses. Yeah. Now I'm visible, right? Now let me share my details.
Sir, we have some of the questions, sir. Shall I pose those questions now?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Sir, they would like to know whether these plants can be grown using seeds. Like after they grow seeds and then they have to put up in this, or directly the cuttings of the plant can be used in this system.
Oh, question. Now, even if you have cuttings, yes, you can, but you will have to first nurture them in some input media. Initially, they need support because when you have cuttings, then those cuttings has to be developed into a sapling before they can be transferred into hydroponic system.
Sir, the next question is like, how do we understand the nutrient requirement for the vegetables or the greens which we would like to grow for our kitchen?
That is a very big. It takes around 3 hours for you to explain. But initially, I would say you start with any leafy greens. If you start with the spinach or tulsi or lettuce. Lettuce is little difficult because after 28 degrees it starts bolting or starts giving out seeds. So you have to use spinach, or Andhra Pradesh is known for lot many greens, because I know I've been into Andhra lot many times, and you give them any greens and they produce chutney out of it. So I'm proud that Andhra people use lots of greens. So those greens, whatever you eat in your home, can be grown in this hydroponics. And that is very simple and the best you can think of. Because as you grow, let's say tomato, I said they have 5 different formulation. For cucumber, it's a different combination. But if you still want to go ahead with, I would rather say a formulation for fruit can be given online, or I can guide. Or initially, please don't confuse with the nutrient. You concentrate on your growing. Nutrient part will come to a conclusion. I'll talk with Mr. Arun or Mr. Satya Madam and other thing, and how can we work out for all of you. You can leave your addresses and we'll be in touch with you, please.
So the next question is like, is there any frequency to change the water which we are, or the what is the frequency to add the minerals into the water?
Very nice, beautiful question. So these people who are asking me are really known about hydroponics. Yes, it depends on what system you are using. If you're using NFT, and let's say you have 100 plants with some 400 or 500 liter tank, then I would suggest you to replenish the tank after 15 days at least. 15 days at least. But if you are doing in simple grow bags, since you are using it only once, those nutrients, you don't have to worry about replenishing. Only when you have recycling system or active system, you will have to a different combination of A and B. Those things, again, I'll have to take a class on nutrient of it. Whenever you say I'll be ready for it, I'm ready even right now, but the time constraint.
So the next question is like, is hydroponics applicable only for veggies, or can we grow even other horticulture plants?
I had answered that question, right? You can grow even a coconut tree, but how are you going to hold that coconut tree? Because here the adhering capacity of the plant is required, and you are using all medias which are very loose, including coconut coir and vermicompost. I'm using it for the soil. Vermiculite, perlite, and all those things, they are very, very less dense, where the soil is dense. So with the dense soil, they are able to hold on. I can grow a coconut tree. If you have a mechanism to catch them all the time, then you can grow a coconut tree.
Sir, the next question is on, when we talk about enhancing biodiversity, like attracting bird and butterfly species into garden, is hydroponics is the right way to attract these species?
100%, much better than your other ways, because they might bring in lots of insects also. Let me tell you a simple example. Butterfly in its pupa stage, it's a parasite rather. It eats all your leaves. But after becoming a butterfly, it's pleasing to your eyes as well as it is fertilizing each and every flower of your garden. So you have, when you have a coin, you have both the sides of your coin. You don't get a coin with only heads or only tail. It's good. You can very nicely start it. I'll show you certain pictures if they permit. The Changi Airport, those who are going to Changi Airport in Singapore, the whole thing is standing on hydroponics. At least 35 feet of Changi Airport is hydroponics.
Sir, the next question is like, how many yields can we cut leafy vegetables in hydroponics?
Every 15 to 20 days.
Okay.
If you grow green, I would rather say you have more than 20 cycles.
If we are going through seeds, where can we get these seeds? Like, are there general seeds which are available, or are there any specific seeds which are to be chosen?
No, any seeds are available in those nurseries, or even you can use nursery plants available, but you will have to wash them off with the soil in a right way so that you remove all the soil and plant it in your hydroponics. You can use nursery plants also in their initial stages.
Sir, as of now, these are some of the questions, sir. And I think most of the audience are asking for another session as well as your details, so that they can get in touch directly with you, sir.
I have right on the screen. It's on the screen?
No, sir, you need to share your screen, because now it's you who are there on the screen.
Okay,
you can share the details on the screen, sir. Yes.
I thought I already shared it. Share. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
I'll make it larger screen for you to see.
Yes, sir. Now may I request Mr. Anil Kumar Ipur to kindly address the conclusion, please.
A very good evening. At the very outset, I'd like to thank Karateki Garu, Commissioner of Horticulture, Governor of Telangana, for having agreed to spare his time and grace this occasion today. It is very heartening to know the tremendous interest and initiatives of the Government of Telangana in enhancing the green cover of. And as I said earlier at my welcoming remarks, this entire series is based upon the advice given by him. So my hats off to him. I really appreciate his interest in this. The Indian Green Building Council and the Agri Horticultural Society would like to work with the government of Telangana in this movement and create a better outreach by organizing such awareness programs and workshops at mutually convenient times. So we look forward to your support and guidance as always. Thank you very much. Let me now thank Mr. Pradeep Thakkar, Managing Director of Thakkar Agrotech, for his excellent presentation on hydroponics. It was a pleasure hearing you, and also glad to know about hydroponics and its role in the advancement of agriculture and horticulture. What impressed me the most was how you simplified this so-called mysterious growing plants without soil. We always thought that we always needed soil, and now you have come back to saying that soil is not really required and you can grow it anywhere you want. But the beauty of it was how simple you made it. So I'm feeling now that I can go back and make my own hydroponic systems. Thank you very much.
Pleasure, sir. Appreciate it.
Then, last but not least, my special thanks to all the participants who have joined and made this session a success. With your participation, we can say that the coming lectures would also be successful. We look forward to your continuous support, and please let us know what subjects you would like to get some knowledge in. If you write to us, we'll see how we can manage to have some programs that cover those areas of interest. I had mentioned some of the areas earlier, and if they will all be done within the next year or so, hopefully one every month. So thank you all very much, and I look forward to this movement and a very, very, very green India and a green Telangana. Thank you very much.
Every home can be a green home.
Pardon me?
Every home will be a green home, sir, but everybody should
Absolutely.
take interest. Everybody, I have showed you the Taiwan picture only to show that every part of your concrete world can become green in no time.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think that movement is coming, sir. Now I see people regularly from living in apartments are taking a lot of interest now in having all types of greenery. Earlier, it only used to be a few pots in the corners, but now they how to grow something in the balconies, how to do some hydroponics. So I think the movement is coming. And I must really give a lot of credence to the state government here who have been pushing these concepts. So I think the ecosystem is now falling into place. So maybe in the near future, we will see a tsunami of green activities.
With tongue in cheek, I say, Tsunami, and I'm sorry, Corona 19 Devi was blessed enough that they had made everybody to sit at home and they needed some passion. And this gardening, hydroponic is really taken off very nicely after only COVID. Because everybody wants to get food also and at their own place, at their own, terrace garden or balcony, because they can't even go out to buy vegetables. And I have seen tremendous, people are coming to hydroponics and say, sir, please teach me now. And I'm very happy that I shouldn't say that Corona should come back, but this culture of growing at your own home and reducing the carbon, because your greens and your vegetables are coming from a long way, which is using lots of petrols and diesels. So if you can do it right at your home, you are saving lots of carbon footprint. Yes, sir.
Good. Yeah. I see Raghupati there. Raghu, would you like to say something?
First, I must appreciate Mr. Ipoor for your wonderful leadership of initiating this type of topics. Wonderful session we had. Thank you very much, Mr. Ipoor, for the brilliant leadership and initiating the green in our mind also. Mr. Pradeep, I must thank you for a wonderful presentation. It was amazing.
My pleasure, sir. Pleasure.
Great.
But I need to more teach my own participants should know more about it. This was nothing. I have shown them a Cadbury inside a bottle or Rasgulla inside a bottle, but I must make them eat those Rasgullas or Cadburys. Only then I have done. This is only half job, sir. Not even half job. 10% of the work. Let us do 90% more of it, sir.
Wonderful. We look forward.
Sure.
Please, Mr. Venkat Reddy Garu, to say a few words about the session, please. Commissioner, sir, could you please say a few words about the program, please? Kindly unmute.
So excellent topic. Excellent topic was by the Agri Horticultural Society and CAA, and a lot of information was given by the eminent people, and the Telangana. 100% the Telangana people will and adapt it, the technology, and we request the concerned authorities to please visit Hyderabad and join us. We will organize one bench seminar. Very good time. All speakers was taken and a good picture of lot of information was shared and a lot of fears were also removed from the minds of the this hydroponic farming people. So first of all, I will very much thankful to the Anilji and his team for organizing the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We conclude the session now, and we would say that this series would continue for all the months of this year, and we request all the participants to kindly join this session every month, and we will be having lectures on different subjects of landscape. We seek your support and participation. Thank you one and all for your participation.